is another weekly installment of Destiny Downloads with your girl, the Destiny Coach, and I'm live virtually in the Destiny Den for our next tour stop as I celebrate the release of my sophomore project, my sophomore literary project. Repeat after me, 31 days of affirmations. And so I definitely welcome you all to this virtual experience. Again, just want to give an introduction. Again, each and every week, God is giving me this huge task and this amazing vision to sit with leaders, to sit with shepherds and leaders all across this country. And so you all know we're in the middle of this pandemic. We've all been quarantined. But again, we have this unconventional but very necessary tool that in what we call technology. And so God gave me the green light to go forward with this virtual book tour. And so we made our way to California. You all know my beloved home state now. The great state of California was week one with my very own shepherd and leader, Reverend Dr. Kadri J. Webb. And then week two, we took it all the way to the south and we traveled to my original home state in the great volunteer state of Tennessee. And we had my special homegirl, my special sister friend, Minister Latasha Brown, who shared with us during our second tour stop. And then last week, during our third tour stop, we made our way to the great show me state of Missouri. And we got to sit down and hear from Pastor Charles Bond Jr. of the Mount Pleasant Baptist Church in Kansas City, Missouri. And so tonight, we back down south. So from the west to the south, to the Midwest, back down south, I have the humbling privilege and opportunity to travel virtually to the great state of Texas, where I am seated in front of one of the most amazing women that I've been fortunate and privileged to meet and to know and to be acquainted with in these last 6, 7, 8, 9 years. And so she humbly wears the title of my mentor, a role and a title that I do not use loosely. And so again, in just a few moments, I'm going to ask Shree to officially introduce herself. But so without any further ado, I welcome Miss Shree Medlock to the Destiny Den, to this virtual book tour, who serves formally as the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives for the Texas Charter School Association. So that's all I'm going to say. She can introduce herself in her own way. Have at it, Shree.
Well, thank you so much, LaShundra. I feel like a mother hen here. All my chicks are they're just taking off, and I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you, and everything. I mean, I remember the first day I met you, and I thought, okay, hey, she is real. Okay, you're hired, right here. And I literally said that because I believe that, and you have not disappointed my sister. I am so proud of you, and so excited about your future. And I read this from cover to cover. I believe in this. Is this your second book, right?
Second book. Yeah, second book.
And I've already called it bestseller.
Yes, I received it in Jesus' name.
So I am Shree Medlock. I am Jennifer and Brandon's mother. I am B3, that's Barry the third, and Jackson's Lovey. And I am just so incredibly grateful that just humbled that you would even think about me, having me on tonight. I hope I can offer something. I can tell you that when you asked me to read this book, the draft, I was like, okay, did it again. And then you came back and said, okay, pick one, and I want you to talk about it. And I have to be honest, and people that know me well know that I didn't pick just one. Even unto date, I was still grappling with 5, and so I just had to go into my little room and ask God to please help me. Which one do you want me to focus on tonight? So thank you for this opportunity. I will start kind of with my journey. Is that okay to do that? first of all, let's just be really clear. I mean, this, I struggled with tonight, and I would tell you why. LaShundra knows this. I mean, I just was like, well, wait a minute. I'm looking at the list of people you have doing. Everybody's like anointed. They're ministers. They're you. I'm not that. And she said, well, you know, I'm not trying. I don't want you to be that. I mean, I know who you are, and I just want you to share your story and why this is important to you. First of all, I believe in affirmations, and LaShundra knows that. And if you are a friend of mine on Facebook, you already know that affirmations are to me one of the most critical things for me that I do. I started this probably about 3 years ago when I was huffing and puffing at a New Year's Eve party, and I saw a picture of myself the next day, and I thought, okay, no more. I've got to do something different about what I look like I thought on the outside. And called a friend, said, hey, whatever, I can't do a diet. I'm not good on diets, but whatever I need to do it immediately. And one of the first things that I knew I needed to do, because let me just back up a bit. I've always been a Christian girl, AME, born and proud. I mean, that's St. John AME, Go Mahia. That's where Miss Jeannie. That's where my roots hail from. My mom always had us in Sunday school and church, and for the folks that really don't know, ACE League Fellowship on Sunday evenings.
Oh, old school.
And so I'm really telling my age here, but I'm proud of it. I know where I come from, and I knew early on in my life that I had something. Something was just a call on me, where I felt like I just wanted to share. I wanted everybody. Well, first of all, I tell this story often. We had a Sunday school teacher. Her name was Miss Jeannie Ransom, and I'm gonna tell you, she's never been married. She had never been married. You know, she was a big boned woman. I've never known her to look any differently than the woman she was. Just an amazing spirit. In fact, I was in school in California when she passed, and I couldn't make it back. But Miss Jeannie, she was our Sunday school teacher, and she gave the best hugs. Like, to me, that's what Jesus was. And so when I learned to drive, when I would, you know, go in my little neighborhood, because, you know, my mother always thought I'd be some kind of preacher or something, because I was always trying to get everybody to come to the church. But I wanted them to experience Miss Jeannie's hugs. Like, she just like hugged you with everything, and you just felt loved. And I just said, this must be Jesus. Must be what Jesus feels like. And so I tell that story often, because I always wanted people to come and meet her, because I knew that if they met her and they heard her talk about, you know, read the Sunday story, you know, read the stories, then they would want to be with Jesus. They want to hear more about him, and they'd want to be in his life. And that's kind of the basis. When I think back on my journey, how all of this started with me and affirmations, I go back to that story. Fast forward on these affirmations, and LaShundra, let me just tell you, I can't wait for this book to come out. In fact, I was so excited when I talked to you about it. The book comes out in July, everybody. And it's a book that has affirmations, and it's a journal, and it's some side, you know, conversation. 31 affirmations. There was a couple that I'm going to share this, and I want you to pray for me, because this is hard for me. There was a day 10 that said, authenticity wins. I'm just gonna do and be me. And you guys can see this. One's yellow, one's pink. I have like all of them in pink, but this one in yellow is number 10. And the reason is because that's like a vision. That's like you put on your vision board. I want to be authentic. I want to be accepted for me, who I am, raw, you know. And if you're on my Facebook page, you know I share that. And sometimes I share a little too much. I know I got some family members that's going to say, we're texting her saying, don't talk about that. You look a little Lulu right here, but that's who I am. I am, that's who I am. I don't know how to be any different. And I feel like in this day 10 thing, it grabbed me. I went ahead and looked at 11 quickly because I was like, I don't want to deal with that. I stopped there, but I'm not going to stay there. So what I did focus on, what I wanted to talk about tonight was day 30, which was, as much as I think I know, I am always open to knowing more. Be coachable. And why this resonated so much with me in my life is because I'm 58 years old. I am so thankful to be here. Let me tell you, I am incredibly grateful to be this age, this time in my life, to be a grandmother, to have two incredible children that are doing their own thing in their own way with their own families. I'm excited about that. But even more than that, I feel like, LaShundra, that I'm in a place in my life where I'm able to see miracles transpire right before my very eyes.
Wow.
Today, I woke up and I'll share how I start my day. I woke up this morning, and when I finished my devotion, I knew that there was going to be some major miracles happening. I didn't know what. I didn't know how, but I knew that they were going to happen. And the one thing that I knew would take place, and it did, by the way, was that I was going to be in a state of learning and receiving. And although I've told you my age, and I'm in an organization where you need to hear this. I am the oldest person in my whole company.
Wow. And
trust me, these kids, they're great. I don't want to call them kids because they're by their own right.
We get it.
But and but boy, they're smart, and they are risk takers. And I remember when I was there. And so one of the things that I know that I want to be, and that I am, and I'm thankful for, is that I'm always in this learning mode. And I'm always wanting the feedback. I'm always wanting the coach. I think
I want to stop you for a moment, just because I want to highlight a few things that Shree has just mentioned in her introductory statement that I think is profound. And so tonight, I, as those of you that have taken this journey with me, for those of you that are newcomers on tonight, I am usually the more wordy one. And so I'm usually leading the conversation. And so in these latter weeks, in these previous weeks, and even in the weeks to come, I have really humbly yielded myself. I've yielded in the sense to say, hey, I want to be poured into. I want others to be poured into. I want to hear from leaders, from shepherds, from those who are not just biologically older than me, but are older than me in experience, that are older and more mature than me in wisdom, and that can share back to someone who's hoping one day to get to such an accomplished place as Shree is, right? And so I wanted to highlight that, but I also wanted to make sure that we heard on tonight as she proudly shared her age. and this notion of being near 60, knocking on the door, like literally like on her way to ringing the doorbell, right? And she looks phenomenal. But still the posture that it takes to be as an accomplished woman that she truly is, that's worth her due. And listen, by any stretch of the imagination, it's worth her due and worth the praise, but can still yield in this hour, in this moment, in this season, and say, hey, I'm around youngest, I'm around young energy, I'm around young minds. And I realize instead of pushing away from that, this may be an opportunity for me to lean into, again, another space to learn. And so I can imagine how many listeners on tonight who may can relate to that, because again, we're always talking about young people need to learn and we need to submit and surrender and yield. But the reality of it is something that, and I hope you expound upon. There's also something to be said when you have reached great heights in life, and no one discount that. When you are a grandmama, when you 3 times removed as a wife, right? You probably done buried some folk, done raised some folk from the dead. You had experience on top of experiences, and still can find yourself in a posture of humility to still learn and to still be coachable. I think that in itself is powerful and noteworthy. And I definitely want to salute you, because again, this journey doesn't ever end. It's ever evolving.
I thank you, LaShundra, for saying that, and thank you for those compliments. I mean, let me just say that I haven't always been here. I mean, let me just put it out there. Look, I haven't always been there, and it's a daily walk. It's a daily walk. I mean, I look today, my daughter sent me, she just out of not thin air. I mean, she's just a creative person. She sent me, she's created a business like while she's quarantined. I mean, in the middle of a social justice, I call that in itself a pandemic. She hunkered down and out of the belly of her soul created, J-Made, just put it together. And I mean, not like something. She put it together with her, just every little thing. And all I could think when I unwrapped that package today was, wow. Yeah. She is a young entrepreneur, teacher, still changing minds because she's still working with kids every day, and she's still giving. This is a part of giving, because a lot of the things that she's doing, it's not like she's charging enough to really she's paying for her supplies, is what I was saying. Proud of that. I haven't always been in the space of, because, when we get a certain age, we just think, okay, you need to come and bow and
sit down.
But I remember being the young person thinking, okay, I know a little something.
Right.
But one of the things that I believe that it's because of my relationship with God. I have to say this. I have to, I'm not a minister. I'm not quoting these scriptures and all of that, but I will tell you that my relationship, this journey of changing, of him working on cleaning out the inside of me, and it has given me renewed hope. And I can be hopeful in this time of a pandemic and then a social justice war. I am hopeful. I know without a shadow of a doubt that things will be different, that we are coming through this, that even in the midst of all of the stuff that's happening out there and it's some ugly, there are some ugly people.
Right.
But I can tell you that we are coming through. And I know this. I know it. I can feel it in my spirit. I feel it for my grandchildren, my grandsons. I know that if we just all, meet our neighbors and have the one-on-one. See, it's not about the president. It's not about Congress, right? Although I will tell you, my mother raised me to vote for dog catcher. Whoever is running, you vote. I don't care. You vote. And I'm a big piece of that, and I believe in that. But I also believe that we can change this world, that it's on us. We have to get outside of ourselves. I don't think it's a I don't think it's a white, black, blue, brown. I think that it's you get to know each and every person. Everybody needs to know you too. I don't think it's on you to know me. I think I need to know you too.
Wow. Wow. That was good. Because so often when we're in this space where relationships are critical, we are both two relational people. And the reality of it is you'll find yourself you'll find yourself acquainted with people that don't always look at that what you just share as critical. The need for people, the need for relationship, the need to be open, the need to be accessible, right? And not even just in meeting your neighbor, the person that lives next door to you, but the person that you do life with, the person that you may attend church with, the person that's in your social club, right? Like, the responsibility of us as individuals to be able to open ourselves up and share ourselves with one another is so powerful in itself that you mentioned that, because I think we've gotten away from that. We've gotten away from community. We've gotten away from neighborhoods. We've gotten away from knowing our neighbors. And so now, we look at our neighbors would be our networks, who we're connected to via a job or who we're connected to via social groups, right? And the reality of it is, it's just so much more that we can breed from one another when we open ourselves up. And to your point, make it a dual responsibility. It's not so much you need to get to know me, but I need to allow you to get to know myself. And I would argue though with that, Shree, is sometimes this fear. What I found is this fear, because I don't really want you to know me. I don't really want you to know the ugly parts of me. I don't really want you to see me fragile. I don't want you to really know that I have human frailty. So on this journey, again, as you share, as you beginning to share so eloquently, I think it's powerful that we're able to close this generational gap, and where we're able to have conversations with our mothers, and for those of us that have living grandparents, and say, listen, give me some wisdom, but at the same time, hear my heart. And right, and how do we close this generational divide, where we get a lot of scrutiny to say, we didn't do it like this, you young people this, you young people that. Well, I have at some point, as our moms, as our dads, as our leaders, as our forefathers, how important it is for you all to say, well, let me take a step back and learn. Let me look at my daughter, who in the middle of this pandemic, when I could really be losing my mind, who is still thinking about ways to not necessarily just make income, but to be creative, to be inspiring, and to give even her mama a sense of hope. Can you talk through that, like how critical and how important that is, both individually and then corporately?
Well, listen, yes. So you said a lot. You said a lot with that. You said a lot with that. First of all, I believe that we're going to win this war, and it is a war. We're in a war. When you have what happened a few weeks ago, a police officer, a servant, a person who works for the city that you depend on protecting you, in broad daylight with cameras rolling. This wasn't a movie. Here's the deal. We live in a reality-driven society. Everything is reality.
Right.
And for somebody to just kill somebody before our very eyes, I cannot get that image out of my head. And what I had to reconcile with that was, is I have a son, I have a son-in-law, I have grandsons, I have a stepson, I have brothers, I have a partner.
Right.
I just, so many things just went through my head. And he was 60, all of those things. I knew him. I knew both of them. Mm. Like I have white male friends. I had to reconcile all of that. And I have to tell you, it was very difficult. And it's still, there are days that I kind of go, we need to think about this. So what I'll do is that another one of those affirmations that you talked about, that, when things are kind of bad, you need to serve. I go out when I'm feeling kind of down in the dumps and I'm beating up on myself. I will reach out to I'll try to encourage somebody else. Like I try to, because I know what's inside of me, and I know that what's inside of me is not all of what I just saw or what I'm holding in from that image. But when you talk about, young people and how they are, just they're different from us and how we can learn from them. I've struggled with that. I mean, I had to hire a whole team of people that were a lot younger than me. And trust that you were going to get it done, and that not only would you get it done, you would get it done in your way.
Right.
And I was going to give you some tools, but I always said, get it done in your way.
Yeah.
Don't go to jail. Those things. Because you guys everybody was so different. And
Yeah.
I failed miserably at it.
At which part?
I believe I failed miserably at leading that team of young people that were so very different. Some of you went and, you're writing books. Some of you, I just didn't. I didn't.
Why do you think you did? Why do you think you wasn't successful?
Because everybody didn't rise. And I felt.
Your expectation, was that your goal?
Yes, that was my goal, that everybody rises. And everybody didn't rise. And so I own that. And I've learned from that. However, I've tried to, now being back in Texas, I've tried to learn a different way of opening myself up to new things and hearing, being, just hearing, just being more of what I believe my role today is. I think sometimes we've been in this role for so long, and you walk in the room and everybody go, oh, Shree's in the room. Yay, Shree's in the room. Well, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But the reality is my role has changed. I'm not trying to climb up the mountain, and I've seen the view. It's a beautiful view. My goal is to help you get up that mountain. I want you to see the view. I want you to experience it, because if you never see me helping you up the hill, you won't be able to help the next person up the hill. And I think that when we get a certain age, we don't always do that.
Reach back.
We don't reach back. We want to do it from the top of the hill. I want to do it. I want to help folks get up the hill and enjoy the view. And I want to, those that are open to it, I want them to, I want to have the type of life that somebody someday will say, boy, Miss Jeannie gave the best hugs. I want them to say, Shree was, she was good at nurturing me into the space I'm in. And now I'm better at nurturing, because our world is not full of nurturers.
Right. So with that question then, what then do you think is the reason why you make the statement of, at a certain age, we don't reach back, or at a certain age, we don't want maybe the younger generation or those that are younger than us to reach those same heights and to get to the top of the mountain and see over the mountain, or to see the view?
I don't think that it's that we don't want them to. I think that, listen, when you've gotta live. And so sometimes it's because, we gotta,
Preservation.
Yeah,
Preservation. Gotcha.
And I think that goes back to, and I'm no different. I mean, certainly I like where I live. I like what I'm doing. I like my life today, but I also work really, really hard on me inside, because I'm just not perfect. I'll never be perfect, but I'm not even close. I'm not even like on a 1 to 10. I'm like 3. I'm trying so hard, and so I try so hard because I know that I was put here for a reason. I still have a lot more to give. When I'm all given up, that's when, it'll be done. But
Yeah.
I still have so much more to give. And so I work on myself every single day. I start a devotion. I said I was going through something really, oh God, it was horrible. And, I would do a little devotion and then I'd stop, and I'd read something and I'd stop. And I went through something, and it was like God just said, look, you gonna come with me or what? And I committed. I said, I'm gonna do a gratitude. I'm gonna, share every morning with my fam bam, which is with my children, my 3 things that I'm thankful for, and then they'll share. And I've since done that, and we do that. But I said that I'm going to take 15 minutes, and whatever that 15 minutes, if it's my devotional Jesus calling or Jesus always, whatever, I'm going to read. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to light my camera and I'll pray. And I'm going to do 15 minutes at least. I should be able to hang in there for 15 minutes. And trust me, the first couple of days was really hard. I'd even say weeks. But I set my timer. I'm going to read to 15 minutes, and then I'm going to write down what I got from that. And I started a journal. I now have about 12 books in there. They're actual books of writings. And I moved from the journal to just putting it on Facebook. My takeaways from my devotional time, which is no longer 15 minutes. It's a good hour and 30 minutes, but I get up at 3:30 in the morning. I can do that.
Right.
But I do that. My takeaway for the day, and I just, it's amazing, LaShundra. I mean, I just can only imagine what you and your peers go through. I feel like I go in, and it's like, I could be almost to the last thing that I'm reading. I have about 10 things that I'm reading. And then something would like stand out. I mean, like, oh, hit me over the head. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's my intention for the day. Or it could happen at the very beginning. But I'm still reading straight through. But when I do my takeaway, it's that whatever I read at the very beginning. And it's such, what makes me happy inside is that God is not finished with me yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm still getting that.
And wow.
That's the giddiness in it.
And you said several things. This notion around when we think about this affirmation of being coachable. My mom has dropped something here around, as a parent, as a grandparent, I am learning to listen more and talk less. And my mom is a talker like you. And you all have similar personalities around the dominance. I'm staying safe tonight. And I can remember her saying things to others, something you said around you when you led us as a team. You had to let us literally figure out how to do it our way. And I think that's something so profound, not just as leaders, right? But as parents, I would argue as grandparents, as anyone, you have to literally leave room for people. You share your vision, right? Or you share what you want to happen or what it is that you want to accomplish. I think then there has to be this space. You have to literally learn how to relinquish control and find, and you said the word trust, to allow people then, younger or not, right? The space to be, the space to innovate, the space to ideate, the space to think, and the space to then produce in their own way. Because to not do that grabs at their authenticity. And to not allow them to do that and allow them to kind of go on their own journey of self-discovery to produce, grabs at and literally causes conflict in them being their authentic selves, this process being a true authentic process, and you learning to get to this place as well as an authentic leader to just be right. And it's something that's I see a lot of that in ministry. You really just hit it. So many times our leaders, they are so overwhelmed with so many things, and there's just this level of mistrust or lack of trust that they have with their teams, right? We see it across the board in all industries, right? And I don't even think it's a matter of age sometimes, as it just is this wrestle within to allow people to come on board, be a part of my team, but then two, okay, I'm gonna leave room for you to do what you need to do, how you need to do it, right? And so I think that's huge in that regard. But then the second thing I wanted to point out was these expectations that you had of us as your team to perform and to produce. And I think success for me, as I've grown and as I've matured, success has become this abstract term, right? So success today could just be getting out the bed, going to the gym, and doing that hour that I said I was going to do. Success today could be reading this affirmation and spending time in the presence of God. Maybe 5 years ago, success was going to the gym, doing 2 hours of worship, volunteering at my church, being a dance mom with Maddie, going to check on everybody in my family. Like, success has just shifted as I've grown and as I've matured. I realized that I leave room every day to redefine what my definition of success is going to be. And what that does is it lets me off the hook and it puts me in a space to be the learner, to be the student, and to be coachable, because I realize, A, I don't have it figured out. B, I don't want to have it all figured out. And then C, to your point, what can I now learn today? And I'm not going to be so busy and overwhelmed that I can't posture myself in a space to be taught on today.
One of the things that I can say that I have learned, that I'm learning, I'm not there yet, I'm learning, is that if you don't allow the people in your space, be it your children, be it your, team that's, that you're coaching, so to speak. They don't know I'm their coach, but that's what I am. If you don't allow that to take place, it will damage your relationships. And it will damage your relationships in ways that it will stunt the growth of all parties. I mean, when I was reading this affirmation, repeat after me, I was like, page after turn. Oh, okay. I thought I was just reading this for LaShundra, Lord. Why are you working with me like this? Come on. I was thinking of all those things, not to live in the past, because I work really, really hard to stay in the present. But I was thinking about not, just my past leadership. I've worked in for-profit leaders. I mean, I worked at Allstate for 10 years. I led teams there. I worked at Bayo. I led, a major team in the work there. I have been exposed. I've done some things, and I wanted to, how can I be different? What do I need to do? How do I offer up in my space? Not even in the workspace, in my space as a neighbor, as my, in my space as a friend, as a BFF. What is it that I can be different? How can I be different? And how can I listen? And your mother is absolutely, we don't listen. We are horrible listeners. And if I have to actually write, I keep with me when I'm talking to my son, I will keep a piece of my paper, because I have to write down what I need to say so that I don't say it. Yeah, that's how, yeah. You
Wow, wait. So, in an example with your son, to give him the space to share freely, openly, transparently, and I'm sure raw, right? You keep paper with you as he's sharing so that you write down what you probably would want to share so you don't share. Oh, that's good.
But I'm
That
not. But I'm not. But I'm not. I'm not good. I'm not great at it yet. I'm still. I'm not
wow.
work on
That's
it. I'm
good.
working on it every single day.
That is great. Oh wow.
Every day, I'm working on it, and I'm working on it because, see, we are, this is not mine. So please, I was watching a clip of Will Smith last night. Not on. He was doing a red table talk with his wife, and he said something that was so profound. I wanted to call Brandon and Jennifer and say, y'all listen to this. I'm sorry, I wasn't Will. Girl, I wasn't that kind of person. But he said something as a parent. He sees his job as a gardener, and that the kids are the seeds, and they're already gonna be what they're gonna be.
All right, right.
To be this, whatever that is. It could be this or that. But your job is to water and to nurture and to, you need some more, nutrients over here. But it's not to, you're gonna be a corn stalk. I don't care what it is. I know you want to be this, but you're gonna be this. And I saw myself as a parent, as a leader, because I know I did some of that to y'all too. I saw myself as that. This is the way to be successful. This is it. This is the way you present yourself. This is the way. And I'm gonna tell you, I did some good things, but I did some not so good things. I thought I was doing it the right way, but I was doing it the way that I thought was right, but it wasn't. When I think about it, would I be different today? Yes. And you know how I would be different? I would listen, and I would let you figure it out.
Both as parent and leader?
Both as parent and leader.
Because I think there's some overlap, right?
Both
I think there's a lot, and I think that because one thing I will say, especially to those of you all that have tuned in, and this is your first time listening, when God gave me a vision around the book tour, and when I was like, well, who do I gather as guests? God specifically gave me shepherds and leaders, and I'm like, God, why shepherds and leaders? And the reality of it is, he has continuously, week by week, unfolded the why. But one of those whys was literally people need to see leaders and not leadership. And there's a posture that leaders must exude that is missing in some of the spaces, right? And he said, Sean, what you're going to be able to see is leaders, put themselves in this student seat again, because they're going to have to take this material, and you'll be able to know if they've done with it what they were supposed to. You'll be able to know if they've sat with it, if they've wrestled with it, and they didn't just look at it, oh, let me just do this for LaShundra. No. You'll know by what is transpired via these lives. That's one thing, but you'll also be able to see them go inward and really think about their own practices and how we've gotten so sometimes far away from simplistic practices, such as morning meditations or evening reflections or journaling or speaking affirmations. And in this case, as you just highlighted, listening, the power of, I think so heavily about, as I continue to grow as a leader, I don't want to be a leader just because I'm so smart. I don't want to be a leader because I'm so dope, right? And I don't even want to be the leader because I got the vision. I want to be a leader that people feel like she hasn't lost her connectivity to that of a follower, right? And so that is so powerful that you say that, because I think we lose that on this journey of trying to be accomplished, of trying to be successful, of trying to keep all the balls in the air, on trying to be the one that's in control, because there's a level of sexiness that comes with it. And sometimes we miss, again, those simplistic practices that make us a human, be relatable, and keeps us grounded in a way to say, you know what? I forgot just how to listen to y'all. I just forgot how to shut up long enough to learn and then listen. And how many organizations, teams, families will be totally shifted when the leader remembered their place and their role as a follower every now and again. Just and so for you to say that, I think it's so profound. Having worked for you, to those of you all that do not know, and I didn't share this, Shree really was my boss at one point in life. Believe it or not, I never had an affinity for female leaders for some of the things that she's mentioning, right? Because as you all know, we live in a society where, and we talk about competition, I believe it has been an agenda to keep women in competition with one another, right? Whether that's with race, whether that's with background, whether that's with education, where you went to a PWI and I went to a HBCU, or you young and I'm old, or you're dark skinned, I'm light skinned, you know, or you're more educated, or you slept with him before I did. Like, I just feel like there's so much narrative that keeps women in competition with one another. And so for me, coming up under the ranks, all I wanted to do at one point was just to glean. I just wanted to learn. But you saw this level of intimidation that when you came along, look, one wrong move from you would have been a setback. It would have been like, God, I told you, the ignorant women, right? And so, but you really was a saving grace. You helped to restore a narrative that I hadn't really seen. There are a few women that I can say I worked for, that I've gleaned from, and that I've learned from, and we're still just as tight as we are today. And that is the narrative that we have to recreate, right? It's not about age. You can still learn from LaShundra. LaShundra can still learn from a Shree, and not just because she's 58, not just because she's lived longer, just because of her experiences, but then also vice versa. And when we tear down these demographic barriers and just realize you're a person, I'm a person, you know, it was pivotal to have you in my life as a boss. And let me share this. The reality of it is, after Shree transitioned from being my boss, guess what? Our relationship literally took off even the more, right? She hasn't been my boss since 2015, 16, right? And so the reality of it is, we 5 years past that. And you cannot tell me that our relationship has not grown. That was our genesis, but that definitely was not our pinnacle. And a part of our relationship has literally evolved through this lens of, when you see me, you see LaShundra. When I see you, I see Shree. I see my big sister. I do see my former boss. I see my mentor. And I wonder what kind of world could we recreate if we reimagine the lens of leadership, and if we dispel those myths that we have to always be in competition. And just because you're older than me and have lived long enough, and we bless God for age, and we definitely bless God for longevity, but at the end of the day, we all could stand to be coachable.
Well, you said a lot, and that's exactly where I am. That's the lens that I'm living in. And I believe that I'm in this space because of the work that I've put in on myself, not trying to, look outward, not trying to change others. I think that, this book was timely for me because I've been, for the last 2 years, practicing affirmations. I'm the one that spends, 3 months at the end of the year trying to figure out, okay, Lord, what's the word for next year? What's the word? Word? My word this year is discipline, and Lord knows it's been that. And but last year, what was interesting, as I'm looking back, and I love Facebook for this, that gives you memories, that it was bridges. And I I do believe that's who I am. That it to my core. But there's so much more to me, and so much more to learn, so much more to receive from others and to get, and I'm just not satisfied that, as you talked about women and our relationships with each other, be it, race or, age, professions. There was an article, there was a program on the other night that I was gonna watch. I still haven't watched it, about dark skinned girls, because I'm
Yeah,
definitely
parts 1 and 2. Yeah.
in that space, and live that space, and certainly wanted to, but for some reason I didn't want to go back to
Yeah.
that conversation. I feel, not that I'm very proud of myself and where I am, but I'm that's been a journey for me. That's another journey, right? That's another journey. But I certainly appreciate the conversation around how women, young, and just where we are and how we can do better with each other. But it all starts with listening and seeing each other, without judging, and without all the other stuff that comes along with women that we do.
This was good. We have a very great history. And again, I am excited about anyone who here's where I'm inspired. Because I am 36. And again, Lord knows I pray to see 58, 78, 88, 98, 108. I speak it. And so I think there's power again in being able to sit with yourself post 40, post 50, near 60, and to still be able to say that I'm on this journey of evolving, that my children are helping me to continuously evolve. Have I made some mistakes? Absolutely. Will I make some more mistakes? Probably. But I am still in a dire pursuit of figuring this thing out, right? And I think that's so humbling and that's so encouraging, because there's so much pressure on us to perform. There's so much pressure on us to produce, right? There's so much. If you got to be married, you got to hold a house down, you got to hold him down, you got to speak life in him, you got to help him birth vision, you got to birth the children vision, you got to help feed the needy at the church, you got to do outreach at the church, you got to sing at the choir at the church, and then you got to be all things to everybody in your family, your friendships, and at the same time, your wig needs to be laid, lips need to be glossed up, and your legs need to be shaved. Like, there's just so much pressure. And there are so many that I come across that fight these inward battles, right? That go through these struggles of trying to figure it all out, right? And we don't get to have these spaces to just be. I got a message earlier today. I can't repeat the message because of its vulgarity. But it was so sobering. It was from one of the young adults at my church. And she was like, and she went from not believing in God, Shree, to now saying, okay, I feel my faith again. I feel his presence again. And she wanted to thank me for my role in that, because I wouldn't just let her counsel out God. Like, you may be going through some stuff, but girl, you all right. But I've allowed her, you said it earlier, I've allowed her inside of a space that's like, okay, take this journey with me at your own comfort level, right? But I'm here, right? And I think my mom said it, like, giving people room to like figure it out, whatever. And so we've had maybe a few months of an acquaintance, and the reality of it is, Shree, she has grown by leaps. I mean, it's almost like her life has warped completely from maybe like a few months ago, like right before the COVID hit and we had to shut down church. But she sent me this message and was like, thank you for just being, right? And she was like, I've watched you handle some situations that I know should have had you effed up. I mean, like, it was so And I wish, oh, I wish I could say it because sometimes you just got to drop the F bomb. But it was such a real message for her to say, look, I was struggling, life sucked, but you showed me how to be cool, godly, holy, transparent, and be a woman, flaws and all, whatever that looks like. Even if Monday looks differently than Tuesday, oh well. And I have been able to feel the presence of God again through relationship, through this dynamic she and I have built. And so I said, with it, of course, the one line in that was, I some I watched you handle yourself in some stuff that I know should have had you effed up. And the reality of it is, I don't know how many can testify on the line tonight. You've been in some situations that rightfully had you effed up, right? But the way that God will give you a level of poise and intellect and stamina to persevere, because it was another reminder today, just today when she sent that message, Sean, it's just not about you. It's so much bigger than you. And so this journey that sometimes is unfair, that's heavy, that's heart-wrenching, that's depressing, that's defeating, God is like, you know what, Shree? Somebody is watching. And even when you think you failed, and even when you think you let the team down, and even when you think not everyone rose to the occasion, the reality of it is God is like, you grew. So maybe that was the win. You evolved. Maybe that was the prize. You're able to look back and say, but you know what? I survived that thing and now I am thriving. Maybe, just maybe on today's Shree, that was the trophy. And that at least with one of your team members, you can sit years after and say, you know what? Hell, I was in some jacked up situations that had me effed up, but damn it, I survived, and I'm alive to tell the damn story. Maybe that's the win, and maybe that's the lesson. Here it is that we pass on to another sister to say, baby girl, you will find yourself in some jacked up, effed up situations, but if you remain alive to tell the story, that's your win.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I share that with you. I talk. I mean, I think about, it wasn't perfect, but even everybody, I had a different expectation for everybody, but I didn't have the right expectation for myself. That was the most critical piece.
Wow.
I believe, yes. That has been my relationship with God is, what can I be different? How can I be different in the space that I'm taking up in the next phase of my life? Mm-hmm. And that's when he's shown me this journey that I've been on. And, he's used my children. He's used my relationships with my children. He's used my relationships with my friends, with my neighbors, with my partner, with my business, with the people that I work with. He's used it all to show me myself. Yeah. And I receive it because I will do what he wants me to do. I was put here to do a job, and I believe that I was, and I believe I'm going to do that work. I believe that there's still so much more to do. And I would just say, as I know we're winding down, is that this book, Repeat After Me, it's a 31 days of affirmations. It is, don't begin your day without, listen, anybody that knows me, and I can tell you, I can count on my hands, on this hand, how many times last year, because it's none this year, how many times last year I did not start my day with with that meditation time. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying, listen, folks, I'm saying it can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes, it can be 15, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
First thing you do in the morning, the one time, maybe 3-4 times last year that I didn't do it, I paid a dear price for it. Mm-hmm. I was angry at myself for a long time because when I didn't do it and things erupted on me, I blame myself for that. But now I look back and say, well, God, he was just showing me, hey, you thought you were something in there, you doing your meditations and you got your thing going, but there's more to it than just that. I go in there expecting him to deposit something in me for that day, not for next week. I'm not looking for when I'm 70 to do something.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to be about today?
Yes.
And that's what these affirmations do.
Yes.
They help you set an intention for today.
Yes.
And if you believe anything about me, if you think I did anything, it's about, please believe this. Take the first, when your eyes open, even if you can do it before you hit the go, I'm at that age where the first place I'm going is in straight to the bathroom, but because I drink water, so that's it. But you can take that before your feet hit the floor to just tell God thank you.
Thank you.
If you can think, just just thank you. If you can just be mindful that in this season, that even though we're in a season of unrest and a lot of stuff is going on, LaShundra,
Yep. Yes, so much.
There's a lot of people that's feeling some kind of way right now. But through it all, I've met more people during this time. I've learned to look at people and not just, really look at people, thank people when I'm at the grocery store, look them in the eye, the people that I don't have to go and check out groceries. I've worked in the grocery store. I know what it's like. And I love, it was a job that I love, but I'm not an essential worker I get to work from home, from the comfort of my office. I don't take it lightly that there are people putting their very lives, in harm's way.
Harm's way, yes, every day.
Say thank you and ask them how they're doing and see them. I think that we're in a season of seeing people. And if God has taught me one thing, it's to see
his people. Wow.
I got to tell you, I'm so proud of you again. I'm proud of everybody. We've got 4 people that's written books, and y'all are just doing some stuff. I hired a good team. I can tell you that right now. But I'm going to tell you, I am proud of you, Missy. I know that this is just a step up, another step up. And I'm looking forward to, seeing that you calling me saying, well, you want to write something for me? Because I need something, but I'm looking forward to the next step, LaShundra.
And so again, I am humbled because again, I saw a lot of people tonight, Shree, on the line that are in your age group. And it's so funny because God spoke to me and said, each week, each stop will present something different, right? And so that's why I didn't have a template. That's why this isn't scripted. That's why there's no great and big expectations, because you never know what God is going to do. And so Shree, let me tell y'all something. Shree is always talking about how she's not anointed, she ain't no preacher and all this, but I've told Shree this, and I'll continually tell Shree this, both privately and publicly. The work that she's done for well over 20-30 years, the work that she continues to do, and even her as a person, is that of ministry. It's the work of ministry all day, every day. And so the reality of it is, whether or not she acknowledges it is that, whether or not she ever add the tagline or not, her mere existence, her mere purpose is that of ministry. And believe it or not, sweetheart, sister dear, you have been a blessing to me in more ways than one. If that's not the work of Christ, I don't know what is. And so thank you for seeing me since the very beginning. Thank you. We didn't have time, but Shree, along with Kenneth Campbell, were the 2 people that were instrumental in snatching this Black girl, this very loud, different, radical, innovative Black girl from Memphis, Tennessee, when white folks said, no, we don't want her on our team, and literally tried to sabotage a destiny move. But what God has for you, it is for you. And one of the affirmations in my books clearly says, guess what? Nothing and no one can stop you. When God has a plan over your your life. And it was nobody but God that would connect me with the Bayo, me with the Shree Medlock, me with the Kenneth Campbell. And when the white man sure was, it was the white man that was sitting on the top worried about a little ant like me. It was two black individuals. One of those I am seated in front of on tonight. And that literally began my career and my journey into educational advocacy on the national level, because the Bible says he'll make your enemies, y'all know the rest, your footstool. And so thank you for seeing me when I didn't even see myself, just a little youngin', just a little loudmouth in the classroom. I didn't know what I was doing. And you took that, you nurtured that, and you allowed me to see you. And in return, I believe we're both sitting here as a product of that authentic journey that we both took, scared and a little, little unable to trust at the time. And we can now sit here amongst one another and bless God for the journey, for what has occurred and what is to come.